KBOI 2 News at 5. Watching out for you.
Thanks for coming home to KBOI 2 News at 5. I'm Mike Murad.
And I'm Natalie Hurst. The University of Idaho has just released thousands upon thousands of documents that record the grim details of events that led up to that murder-suicide of a University of Idaho student and professor. Tonight we look at the complaint Katie Benoit filed against the professor and what some say about the stance the U of I and other schools should take on student-faculty relationships. Let's send it straight to Jennifer McGraw live in the Satellite Center with those documents in tonight's team coverage.
Mike, Natalie, it's a student-teacher relationship gone horribly wrong. After sifting through thousands of documents, it's apparent the university knew exactly what was going on. A University of Idaho murder-suicide rattles the community. A beloved friend, daughter, and grad student murdered by her professor. Katie Benoit first enrolled in Ernesto Bustamante's class in the fall of 2010. Nearly a year later, they were both dead. Soon after the tragedy, KBOI 2 News and several other media outlets filed a public records request from the school. Turns out they contained several complaints describing grim details of the relationship and Bustamante's dark side. Benoit filed a formal complaint with the university on June 12th. She says, "I witnessed a plethora of inappropriate sexual comments in the lab, along with threats and unpredictable behavior. If students wanted to question him or deny him in any way, he would always preface his response with, 'It's never a good idea to piss me off.'" She continues to ask the university to help guarantee her safety after she says he pulled a gun to her head and said, "I had finally pissed him off." Bustamante followed up with a response saying, "I have never sexually harassed her and most definitely have not made any threats of violence." More serious allegations eventually surfaced. In an evaluation of Bustamante, one student wrote that the professor talked about shooting students, had explicit sex conversations with other students. As the investigation into Benoit's complaint grew deeper, university leaders told Benoit to call 911 if she felt in immediate danger. They also suggested she stay with friends. Bustamante ultimately resigned on August 19th. Benoit was murdered 3 days later. Since Benoit's death, the school has revised its student-teacher policy as well as enhancing its sexual harassment course. Reporting live in the Satellite Center, Jennifer McGraw, KBOI 2 News, watching out for you.
Jen, thank you. Now, those documents show the extent of the relationship between Ernesto Bustamante and Katie Benoit.
The question is, should universities allow it? Tammy Tremblay continues our live team coverage. She is at Boise State.
Mike, Natalie, students we talked with here on campus say they've heard of teachers dating their students, but they've never thought of it as a big issue.
I just thought it was really sad that that had to happen.
At BSU, students say what happened at the University of Idaho is haunting.
Just the fact that she was shot so many times and there were so many complaints about that professor and nothing was done about it, really. That's really scary.
Ernesto Bustamante and Katie Benoit had dated for months before the recently resigned professor killed the 22-year-old and then himself.
I don't really know how something like that would come about happening. I mean, usually students and teachers kind of keep separated as much as possible. Everybody knows it's kind of faux pas to go in there and do anything with the teacher.
But when it comes to a university getting involved in teacher-student relationships, the students we talked with say it's not necessary.
I think it's their own opinion, and if they want to do it, they can do it.
Do you think it's appropriate?
I wouldn't say it's inappropriate, but if you're in the same class as the professor, that's kind of inappropriate. But I think you should have a relationship with whoever you want to have it with.
It shouldn't be like the university's policy because it's like an individual's decision, and the university shouldn't have to regulate that kind of thing. Just like relationships are outside of school, it's not really their business.
What is a university's business, they say, is when a teacher is having mental problems. Bustamante was open about being bipolar and having problems with his medication.
I think if a red flag is thrown up there, you need to look into it.
Bustamante made the university aware that he was having some serious withdrawal symptoms due to a change in his medication. That was less than 3 months before he killed Benoit and then himself. Live at BSU, Tammy Tremblay, KBOI 2 News, watching out for you.
All right, Tammy, thank you for that live report on the campus of BSU. If you are interested in reading some of the 70,000 pages we have been talking about, you can go to KBOI2.com and then click on this story.